Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure and vehicle review. This is something I've been waiting for a long time. This is McFarlane, DC Multiverse, Lobo, and Spacehog. That's his motorcycle. It also comes with his dog, his guitar, and a bunch of other stuff. This is an Amazon exclusive, but I saw it was in stock at Figurine for All, which is a Canadian-based website. I went ahead and ordered it from them, and here it is. So let's take a look at the packaging, which is giant, by the way. So, at the top, this is a gold label collection. Gold label simply means it's a retailer exclusive, whether it be Target or Walmart. This particular gold label is an Amazon exclusive. DC Multiverse, Lobo, and Spacehog. On the front, Lobo and the Spacehog. Of course, there's his dog. Here are the measurements, 21 inches, 53 centimeters. At the other side of the package, here's sort of a drawing of him on the bike. At the back, here's Lobo on the bike with the dog. Here's Lobo with a different head, and here's Lobo with this giant guitar. At the bottom, we have instructions. It looks like it's going to come disassembled. Some really easy assembly, I'm sure. There's a barcode, if that helps anybody. So with no further ado, let's open him up. Main man's coming home. Alright, now that this figure and vehicle out of the package, here it is with all the accessories laid out, and it comes with a bunch of cool stuff. Now first of all, we have the Spacehog, the big, giant flying motorcycle. It comes in two pieces, easy to assemble. It has a display stand, and then a little post for the stand. And then of course we have the Lobo action figure. Looks to be mostly reused from the previous Lobo release, but a new couple of heads. He has the same sort of spiked hook accessory, two heads, then he has his dog, which is conveniently named Dawg, and then that giant space guitar. Before I take a look at all that, let's go ahead and put the bike together, and then talk about and check out the figure. So I went ahead and put the two pieces of the bike together, just the handlebars and the front third piece. Really easy assembly, and it looks fantastic. So, this is Lobo. He's an interstellar mercenary and bounty hunter from the planet Zarnia. He started off as sort of an antagonist to Superman, but now he's more like an anti-hero. I guess he's sort of a good guy at the core, but he's a badass bounty hunter that doesn't really have loyalty to any one person. Lobo is the main man. He's always been a really cool DC character. And this version here comes with a lot of cool stuff. Guitar, his pit bull, the bike. I mean, he's just sort of a badass biker type guy. In this video, we're going to take a look at Lobo. We'll take a look at all the accessories, his height articulation. Of course, we'll take a detailed look at the Spacehog. We'll put Lobo on the bike and some other figures that might look cool on it. And then we'll check him out with a bunch of other action figures. So, we'll start off by checking out all the features of Lobo himself. So here's the figure of Lobo. He comes with two heads, his dog, his hook, and then his guitar. Before we look at those, let's check out the figure. So, start with his head. Head is a new sculpt, and it's kind of looking down, which is a little bit annoying. The hair is really obstructing me from sort of pushing it looking forward like I'd like it to. But the head looks good. He's smiling. He's happy. This guy likes what he does. He's got long hair. The biker jacket, some spikes at the top. On the back, it says, "Bite me, fanboy." He's got double jointed elbows, double jointed knees, nice shin armor with skulls on the knee, skulls on his belt. His shirt, a little bit damaged. It's like a wife beater. You can see the material, but it's got some holes in it. I really like the paint on the back of his jacket. Very well done. I believe it's going to be the exact same body from the previous Lobo with two new heads. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. Not the complaint, he's kind of looking down a little bit. Maybe some hot water will fix that. Check that out in just a sec. But it is a pretty nice face and head sculpt. I'd say it's better than the last one. And here's the Lobo figure, broken down as far as he can go with all of his removable parts detached. So, let's check out the accessories, and we'll start off with the two heads. Now, one interesting thing about the heads is I noticed that both of them have a peg on the inside. That is unusual. Usually the peg stays in the body and you swap the heads. Here's Lobo with his first head. He's smiling, his hair's let out, It looks great. Like I said, looking down just a little bit, it's really not that bad. So I dipped him into some boiling water, and sure, it softened up the figure, but it didn't really do anything to increase the range of motion of the head. He's looking down, not that bad, but I just wish I could kind of get him to be a little bit more like that. Sometimes a little bit makes a big difference. And here's his other head. This one has the crazy hair. This is probably when he's supposed to be playing the guitar. I prefer the other head, but it's really cool to now have 3 different options for your Lobo figure. And there is the third option if you have the original Lobo figure. This head does not come with this set, but it's the most neutral of the 3 different heads. Although I think I prefer the first head's looking down slightly as my favorite of the 3. Now it's like his chain and hook. This is the exact same accessory that came with the original Lobo and one of his signature accessories. So it's made of a rubbery material, very bendable, there's a lot of give to it. The sculpt is very nice on the hook. You can see it's got a lot of wear and damage to it. He's used this thing a lot. And then of course there's the chain that's going to wrap around his hand. Here's Lobo holding that hook. The trick is, wrap it around his wrist, then fit the actual chain into his hand, and then dangling like so, and you can have him wrapped around another action figure's neck, sort of pulling him back. I would say it works really well with this Angry Face Action Comics number 1000 Superman from the Devastator 2-pack. Now let's look at his guitar. It's clearly an alien guitar, as it has 2 sets of strings. Now the guitar itself, it looks pretty good. Kind of flat and hollow on the inside. Has some holes here, maybe it attaches to the bike. Good sculpting detail. I like up here it says the main man. That's sort of Lobo's nickname. It's got, I don't know, some red buttons or something here. And it has, I guess, 3 different sets of strings if you go here. It'd be so difficult to play something like that. And if you look really closely at those red buttons, each one is a skull. Nice little detail there. Here's Lobo holding the guitar and just jamming away. So now let's look at his dog. Its name is Dawg. Of course, D-A-W-G, as everything about Lobo is quote-unquote cool. This is a bulldog, and he has no articulation. He took to following Lobo, and then kind of hung out with him for many years. He's got this sort of biker helmet on with the spike at the top, sunglasses. You can see his teeth, red eyes. The sculpt is pretty good on his face. Biggest complaint about this dog, he has 0 articulation. He is sort of laying down because he's intended to be posed on the side of the motorcycle. There's a little hole here that's going to fit in one of the spikes on the bike. As a whole, he looks good, but I wish we had some options as far as, I don't know, legs moving just a little bit. But I know it's really just supposed to be a background character or accessory for Lobo and his bike. Still, very cool they included this. And size-wise, you can see Lobo next to his dog. Now I want to check out the differences between this Lobo and Spacehog versus the original Lobo figure. And it looks like most of the parts are the same. So, obviously their heads are completely different. As we go further down, the body looks to be the same damage on his sort of wife beater. The jacket, although it feels like it goes down a little further in this guy, I don't actually think they're different at all. Arms are going to be the same, legs are going to be the same, paint job is pretty much the same articulation, same sculpt, same figure, except for the head. And of course, all the accessories. Now let's check out his height. He's a big boy. From bottom to the top of his head, standing at about 8.1 inches tall, which can translate to about 20.5 centimeters. And now for his articulation. Starting with this head, of course, you can rotate from side to side. He cannot look up really any further, look down the tiniest bit. Can't really tilt his head from side to side. The hair is really obstructing and limiting the range of motion. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes out a good 90 degrees. Up, down, around. He does have that butterfly joint between his shoulder and chest. Increase the range of motion and covering the gap that would be there. Bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows, they go all the way in. His wrist can rotate, and it is hinged, although you're only going to get about the 2 little notches out of it. In his torso, he's got a ball joint, rotate around, forward and back. Another one is waist, rotate around, forward and back. Between the two, pretty good range of motion in his torso area. I get a little more out of the torso and the waist on this guy. Legs, complete dust splits, McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation, it's pretty good on him. The legs go forward about that much. Back not much. Double jointed knees. And his ankle. Forward and back. Rotate. Tilt, rock, at least a little bit. And of course, toe articulation. Now let's look at his large motorcycle. This is the Spacehog, his interstellar travel. Now this thing was on the leaked list a really long time ago, so I kind of gave up hope of ever seeing it. But here it is. So let's take a look. And this thing is massive. So, starting with the front, it's got Lobo's sort of signature skull with some spikes coming out. You can see the red eyes there. As we go further up, the paint job is very nice. It's not just blue, but it's got some weathering, some damages. You can see silver pieces here. Looks very nice. As we go up, the handlebars, yeah, the color here is very plasticky. The rest of the thing has a fantastic paint job. Not really the handlebars. A little sort of light up here. You can see the engine inside of here and all kind of different mechanical pieces on the side of the motorcycle. It's got two big sort of exhaust fans here. The seat, very spacious. You might be able to even put two figures on here. We'll see. It's got some spikes on the back, one of which the dog will sit on. I can't imagine that's very comfortable though. It's got a little hole here for the stand at the bottom. You can see the pedals. Look at the paint job. Very, very nice. I like that it looks like it's worn. It's been through some stuff. It's been used for a while. At the back, a lot of sculpting detail on this thing. It looks very nice. I'm very pleased. Now, it's very lightweight. It feels kind of hollow, but it's just so damn big. They did an excellent job with this thing. A closer look at some of the detail. Paint job, excellent. You can see a bunch of different exhaust pieces here. This thing looks like a very powerful vehicle. As a whole, I'd say the detailing is excellent. Very well done. I mean, not just the paint, the sculpt as well. And usually McFarlane excels at one, not the other. Usually it's a sculpt, but this one here, the paint job does it justice, at least for the most part. Now we're going to check out the measurements of this thing. So, how long is it? Well, from front to back, just about 21 inches long. How tall is it? To the very tallest point, I'd say about 5.5 inches tall. And then how wide is it? From one side to the other, about 8 inches wide. And now I want to check out the action features of this thing. Now, it doesn't have any action features as far as a missile firing or wheels turning. You really just put the guy on there and a couple other things. So here's Lobo on the bike. Looks pretty good. Fits excellent. The hands were not too hard to fit around the handlebars. I was a little worried there. So you can see the feet are on the pedal. Hands on the handlebar. Now his butt is not exactly on the seat as much as I'd like. I wish it would sort of be a little bit further back. But this is probably about the best you're going to get, as his arms are pretty fully extended there. As a whole, he looks good. Here he is from a side view. And then here he is from the front view. The main man looking badass as expected. In addition to that, you can put the dog onto the back. Now, there are these spikes here. Sort of have them just sitting onto the last spike there. Like I said, that cannot be very enjoyable, but he stays in there very firmly. You can shake this thing, and Lobo's going to fall out before the dog does. Now you can have the dog on either the left or the right side, but I think he fits a lot better to Lobo's right. Next, we have the display stand. It's definitely not your typical McFarlane display stand. This is intended to have the Spacehog floating. As you can see, it says Lobo. It's got a bunch of sort of mechanical parts here. It's got a hole for the peg, and then it's got a couple of pegs here to accommodate the guitar. When the display stand is put together, it's going to look like this. And there's some writing on the display stand here. If you look closely, it looks like it says Smile Dipstick. And I'm not sure, that almost looks like it says weed. I doubt it. And then here, I see the main man. P.S. I can't even tell what that says. And then it also has a couple of pegs where you can attach the guitar to the display stand. You can have the guitar, the dog, the bike, and Lobo all on the display stand at the same time. Pretty cool. And there you have it. Bam. Lobo on a Spacehog suspended in midair. He's got the dog on the back. He's got the guitar on the stand. It all looks fantastic. If you really wanted to, you could even add his hook to one of his hands, have him hold it into one handlebar. And there's not really a way to accommodate the second head, but of course you can put it down the bottom or on the back of the bike if you want to. Makes for a really nice display. Piece looks fantastic. Very pleased with the end result. It'll make for a nice display piece. Here's a look at Lobo riding the bike in the city streets. And here he is, off the bike, playing his guitar, surrounded by whores in Lobo paint, with this dog by his feet. And it's time to get the band back together. Here's Lobo playing some death metal with the death metal trinity. Here's Lobo, the main man, coming down to Earth to hunt his bounty. Batman meets Commissioner Gordon on the GCPD rooftop. Gordon tells Batman there isn't a break-in to Arkham Asylum. Someone is trying to kill the Joker. Batman meets with some of his allies and sidekicks and explains to them they have to save the Joker's life. Damian asks, why do we have to save Joker? He'd be better off dead. The whole city would be better off without him. And Batman simply replies, that's not how we do things. We do this by the book. Batman now takes the Batmobile to Arkham Asylum. The Batman family finds the Joker. There's a trail of destruction from Arkham Asylum. He's still on the asylum grounds. Batman and Nightwing explain they're here to help him, but something's just not right. In the back, Barbara Gordon and Damian Wayne seem rather annoyed they have to risk their lives to save the Joker, but they understand what it is to work for Batman. They hear something loud land on the rooftop above them, and as they look up, they realize this is it. They start suiting up and getting ready for battle. Although Barbara and Damian are taking their sweet time, Lobo here starts pointing at the Joker. He's speaking in an alien language that nobody can understand. He's taking a very aggressive stance. Batman and Nightwing put themselves between the Joker and Lobo. They are not going to let him take Lobo without a fight. They're throwing everything they can at Lobo. He seems almost indestructible. He's so strong and powerful he gets the upper hand quickly. This prompts Damian and Barbara to jump into action, almost like they're defending Batman and Nightwing, and to not bother to defend the Joker. They're throwing absolutely everything they have at Lobo. Exploding batarangs, ice bombs, grapnel ropes. He's like an indestructible force, just moving through all of it. Our heroes watch in defeat as Lobo approaches the Joker. He starts choking him. He's going to take out his target, and there's nothing Batman and Co. could do about it. And as crazy as it sounds, at this point, the Joker's body falls off like a shell. Lobo's continuing to choke him. Batman is just watching in confusion. It turned out, Lobo's bounty wasn't the Joker the entire time. It was simply an alien fugitive posing as the Joker. Batman, Nightwing, Robin, and Batgirl simply watch in shock as everything unfolds in front of them. Now let's check out some other McFarlane figures on this bike. Here's the death metal Batman sitting on this motorcycle. Now this bike is definitely meant for a larger figure like Lobo. This Batman can't quite reach the handlebars and sit on the seat at the same time. Hell, his feet barely hit the pedals. He looks cool on it if you can get past some of those things. Here's the death metal Superman on this thing. He's a little bigger than Batman, but suffers from most of the same issues. Here's Red Hood on the Spacehog. Nice upgrade from his usual motorcycle, but has the same sort of issues, can't quite reach the handlebars. Then, here's the Drifter Bruce Wayne on this motorcycle. He also looks pretty good as he's in the biker gear, but also a little too small. And here's a look at Lobo, with Wonder Woman behind him, riding shotgun, got her arms around him, holding her own for dear life. Now let's check it out, next to some other McFarlane DC Multiverse vehicles. Here it is, next to the Death Metal Batcycle. And here it is, next to both the Drifter motorcycle and the Batcycle from the Batman. Then, next to the White Knight Batcycle. And now, next to the Flash movie Batcycle. Here it is, next to the Death Metal Batmobeast. And here it is, next to the 1989 Batmobile. Then, next to the Bat Raptor. And now, next to the recently released Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated NECA Turtle Van. And finally, next to the Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Hiss Tank. Now let's check out Lobo, next to some other action figures, starting off with some other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the original release of Lobo. And here he is, next to the Platinum Chase variant, artist-proof, unpainted version of Lobo. Here are all the Lobo figures that I have. McFarlane was my first Lobo figure. I have a couple of pieces from the last Multiverse wave where you were building Lobo, but no actual Lobo figures, and there are some really cool ones out there. Now let's check them out. Next to some other recent release McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the Target exclusive Gold Label Red Tornado and Animal Man. Here's Lobo, next to the recent Walmart exclusive Gold Label Owlman and Vampire Robin. And here he is, next to both the regular and Platinum Chase variants of the Collector's Edition Wonder Woman. Then, next to the third wave of McFarlane Collector's Edition figures, both the regular and the Platinum Chase variants of Superman, Captain Carrot, and Batman as Green Lantern. And now, next to the Big Bad Toy Store exclusive Black and White Accent Aquaman and Joker. Here's Lobo, next to some recent McFarlane Toy Store exclusive figures. We have the line art sketch Black Manta, the Batman Deadly Duo Joker, Interrogation Room Joker, and the Patina variant of Merciless. And here he is, next to the Batman and Robin movie wave, Collect to Build and Arnold Schwarzenegger Mr. Freeze. And here he is, next to the Target exclusive Midnighter and Wave Rider. And here he is, next to the Target exclusive Flashpoint wave, Collect to Build Cyborg. Then, next to the Amazon exclusive glow-in-the-dark variations of the Titan Joker, Infected Batman, Jon Stewart Green Lantern, and Swamp Thing. And now, next to the second wave of McFarlane Collector's Edition figures, both the regular and Platinum Chase variants of Firestorm, Hawkman, and Sinestro. Here's Lobo, next to some Entertainment Earth exclusive figures. We have a Blacklight figure on the left, and some line art sketch figures on the right. Then, next to the Injustice 2 Superman, and both versions of Brainiac. And now, with the Last Stand on Earth, Batman vs. Omega 2-pack. And finally, next to the Dark Knights of Steel Batman, and both versions of the Jim Gordon Batman. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you don't know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane toy, they're typically the 7-inch scale, and even though this Lobo is a little bit over 8 inches tall, he's still a 7-inch scale figure. He's just a big boy. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. And now, with some Jakks-specific wrestling figures, and some DST or Diamond Select toys. Here's Lobo, next to my recent Vet Bill. Next, here he is with some DC Direct and some NECA figures. And here he is, next to some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures. Then, next to both some Mezco and Mattel DC figures. And now, with some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends. And finally, next to some SH Figure Arts and some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, this Lobo and Spacehog set is fantastic. Lobo himself is a great action figure. He's big, he's oversized, comes with a ton of accessories. And then the Spacehog. That thing is bigger than I expected. Great sculpt, great paint job, very well done. Might be just slightly overpriced. If I had to rate this set, I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. Did an excellent job with this thing. It's fantastic, especially considering Lobo has a ton of reuse. I'm still very pleased, very happy. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say with the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.